ready for my last batch, my last try for the Soap Challenge Club for June. It is the wood grain pour, so hopefully things will go okay. Due to time crunch, I'm actually doing all 4 of my tests today, and this is my last one that I'll be doing. So fingers crossed that they'll all be awesome. I've done a similar pour to this. I know I've said this already if you watch the other 3 videos, that this is very similar to the One Pot Wonder type pour when you do a wall pour, but you do some little extra magic things, and then it's all about how you cut it. So the pour is kind of similar for everything that I'm doing, but the cut is what's really going to show what is going on and the magic of this type of pour. So with this challenge this month, typically it is separated into advanced category and beginner category. I'm always in the advanced category. For this one, they are separating out to synthetic colorants such as micas and oxides and ultramarines, and then natural colorants. So those like zinc oxide and titanium oxide for this, titanium dioxide for this challenge are in the synthetic category, although some people put those in that natural category. So anyway, I did 2 with the micas, and then I'm doing 2 batches with the natural plant-based colorants. The requirement was on the on the fragrances can still be fragrance oils. Usually when I do something with natural colors, I try to use natural essential oils and all of that, so that can go into my natural line versus my artisan line. However, I don't have any fragrances that would really work with this, or that are well behaved enough to make a blend that would keep the trace where I need it to be for this. So I'm just going to be going with a fragrance oil blend for this. The other thing is, typically when I do the natural colors, I will add a clay to anchor that fragrance, which I'm not doing, and also clays tend to cause things to move a little faster, and I don't want to do that with this. So another thing with the plant-based colors like the Activate Charcoal, and some of them, they do absorb that moisture, so they do cause things to speed up. So I'm trying to use things that will hopefully work okay. And the last batch I did, I had not used that fragrance before. It was the Evergreen fragrance that it worked fine in the beginning, kind of like that Magnolia Leaf and Tonka, but then it started to speed up just a little bit towards the end. This one I'm going to be using Birchwood, I don't know how to say this, Oud, I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry. So if I botched that, I apologize. But this is the fragrance I'm going to be using. I used this, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, and it was amazing. It worked really well. I'm trying to remember what I did with that one. I did kind of like a, like the colander type pour, if you remember those, like a screen. So anyway, I use that for this fragrance, and it does not discolor. And then I have just a tiny bit of the Magnolia Leaf and Tonka left, like just a splash. So I'm going to add that in to it as well, just because I want to use up these fragrances. And the colors I'm going to be using, for my base color, which is half of my recipe, I'm going to be adding the Activated Charcoal with that. I'm not using a lot because I don't want it to kind of overwhelm everything. And then I have Alkanet from Brambleberry. That one, typically you need an infusion, which I'm not going to do. My patchouli soaps, I always add that in. So it's kind of a more of a brown speckled look, so I'm going to do that. And then I have Madder Root, which when you cold process, oven process, it turns a really pretty pink. Hopefully that will work. And then I'm using an indigo powder from Wholesale Supplies Plus, which I used it in the last batch. It seemed to work okay, but I don't know what the color is going to look like. My previous one was from Brambleberry, and it went kind of a swampy green once it came to, once you added it. But then after it was saponified and cut, it went back to that pretty blue. And of course, going with that gel phase. The other thing with indigo is I typically like to add that to the lye solution, and I'm not going to be doing that this time because I don't want everything to be blue. So let's go ahead and get started. I think I've got everything set out, ready to go, and let's see how this one goes. getting ready to cut the last of the wood grain. This is that natural one that I did. So what I've done with all of these is normally my batch gets 10 bars cut vertically, but I need to cut this horizontally to try to get the wood grain. I've had varying results with what the wood grain looks like with the previous 3 batches. So hopefully this one will be awesome. So what I'll do is I'll nip off a little end. I tried to find the one with the best pattern because I want to get the most wood grain, hopefully looks like that on the inside. And then I'll cut off a normal bar, normal vertical bar on one side, and then I'll cut that into 3 3-inch pieces and then cut those into bars. So depending on how the batter behaved, this one was pretty fluid. So hopefully the end piece for the One Pot Wonder will look like this. Now the other 2, this is 2 and 3, those set up. So they look really cool this way, but you don't get as much of a clear wood grain pattern with the horizontal cut. So we will see what happens with this one. This one should have a good pattern on the inside because it was nice and fluid like that first batch. So let's go ahead and get started cutting.